Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
everybody. Welcome to this new episode of the Fractal Talks. Today we have a very special guest, Carlos Lozano from the band Persephone. Hello,
Hello.
Carlos. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine and I'm very happy to be here. So thank you very much for having me. I'm excited, nervous a little bit, but yeah. Nice.
Well, don't worry. Thank you so much for joining. Actually, I'm a big fan of your band. I've been for a long time, so it's a pleasure to have you on board. And
Likewise.
yeah, I'm really happy to be discussing your new record and everything Persephone related.
Thank you very much. Likewise. I mean, I really like your band and I think you are like both amazing guitar players and amazing musicians. So very cool.
Well, thank you very much. So first of all, you just released your new record, Metanoia, like in February, early February. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
How's the response been so far?
Very good. Because, we've been around for a long time now and we've been like growing very little by little. And at this point, we just signed with Napalm Records, which is a huge step, for us. Before that, we were working with other companies, especially with one called BT Solum. It was like a one-person company, and then as you know, that guy like helped us a lot, but only one guy, has its limitations. But now with Napalm, we have had a lot of media, a lot of like it was like a different world. Many people working for the release. It was very hectic, and we feel like the release. It's been like a really new experience for us, like having all that push behind it and having new fans and everything. So far so good.
That's amazing to have a real label supporting you. It was kind of the same sensation when we signed to Metal Blade for the Rhythms of Insanity record, and the guys have been so supportive and pushed us forward a lot. And I totally understand what you mean, and that's
Yes,
great for you guys.
thank you.
It's well deserved that you finally.
Hopefully,
And
I mean, it feels good.
yeah, what's the response from the fans been like so far?
Again, the nice thing to see, I mean, they're like hardcore fans because we've been around for a while now. Those ones, really, we are always like worried about trying not to, get them down with the new music, like, but I think it's sixth album or something else, seventh album, sixth album, I think. And we are afraid to repeat ourselves, with ideas and stuff like that. So, but so far they were happy about it with the slight changes on the not the style, but the new things we try to play and to do. But again, we had like many people that is the first time they listen to us for in their lives, and that's the interesting thing. When people listen to the new songs, they're like, I think they are more open than the old fans. Because it's the same. The first time they listen to the band, it's like they are more maybe impressed or curious about it. But yeah, so far it's something one of two. That it's those guys like, okay, your best album is like the third one, and that's it. From there, it was like a downhill. But yeah, a few of them. It's fun actually.
So yeah, you mentioned this is your sixth or seventh record so far. So tell me a little bit about the story of the band. How did the band start out, and what has happened since then?
So I had hair back then, so it was a long time ago. We I mean I'm not actually from Andorra. I'm from Spain myself, and Miguel Mo, the keyboard player as well. Mm, we started playing together when we were like kids, and we had this idea of having a metal band because it was like a dream, and we wanted to do all this touring and that stuff, but we didn't know how to. And then we moved to Andorra because personal reasons. So it's been a really slow process of trial and error. We tried things with every album, like no idea what we were doing. We tried our best recording and making music. Nothing happened, but maybe a little bit, and then we did another one, and then another one, another one. So it's been a very, very slow and long process, but very rewarding. At the end of the day, I would say the same. We are just like friends here. This is like a village. This country is very small, and we're like friends playing music and enjoying the ride because every time we go outside or play like some stages or some experience, we feel really grateful about it. So it feels like a really nice experience to have. It's been a long pros and a lot of frustration. You may know, having a band, the highs are very high, but the lows are like a lot and usually very low.
And so, when did you start out? Actually, which year was
Was
it?
like, I mean, the first time I had this idea of making this kind of project, I was 16 or 17 years old. So I was like 1997. And then the first album is from 2004, I think it's the release date, 2004. And then from there to this 2022.
Amazing. And I've seen some members out there since the very beginning. You were one of them.
Yeah, yes. Most of them, I mean, bass player is the same, the keyboard player is the same, and myself, and the other guitar player was in the band, but it was like the last album he quit because he had a beautiful daughter, and we're getting older as well, so it's more complicated to be able. If we were in our 20s, maybe it would be easier for us to go like all the way, with touring, and then, like, doesn't matter. But now we are more careful, and maybe that's what that happens with some members. We're trying to accommodate, the touring and everything with the members, and as happened with Jordi, he was in the band for a long, long time. But when things started to go a little bit faster and with more, things to do, like more life situations and everything, he decided to, step away because of the family things. And yeah, that's happening nowadays.
Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, many members stayed. So yeah, like you said, like friends first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Especially if you are not in a really high, like in the beginning, we didn't have as much touring and everything. And we had this like artistic idea, to make this kind of music. And we were learning and we really like each other. So all the things that is regarding the band is like an excuse to be together for a while, because we don't see each other as much. So it's something like that as well. Now that is more complicated because we have more touring aligned and everything. Is more complicated to get everyone on board, but we're trying hard, to get the core working, as it was in the last years.
Yeah. What's your personal journey as a musician? When did you start out playing? Was it on the guitar already?
Yeah, yeah. I think I was 12 years old or something like that, and uh, I think about that a lot, because I think I started playing guitar. I think because of a friend, like a neighbor of mine, and I started to do that, and then I don't know what happened. It's like I was like not bad at it, and then some people started, like, you're very young, then some people at the school, because you're not very popular there maybe, but some guy see you play something, it's like, oh, I like that very much, you play guitar, and then you feel good about it, and it's like I want to practice more because I want people to like me, a little bit. And then I started, it was like a weird thing, but at some point, I had, like, I suppose everyone, like a revelation, you listen to something specifically, and then you feel like I want to do this, I really want to. I remember I was listening to, I always tell the story, but it was Rust in Peace by Megadeth. And it was my first time listening to it. And I was like in the 90s, and I was playing Doom, but the first one, like in my father's computer. And I had this vinyl of the Rust in Peace. First time I listened to that, I was so happy, these summers, nothing to do, you're like a kid, blah, blah, blah. And then what happened was, as you can imagine, Tornado of Souls came in, and then the guitar solo came in, and I stopped everything. I was like, "What's that?" And I listened to that like 5 or 6 or 7 times in a row, and I was capable to play some stuff on the guitar, but not much. Yeah, just through the motions, some scales, whatever. But after that, I remember I thought, I really want to do this. I want to make people feel this the way I'm feeling right now by playing an instrument. So I quit the game and started practicing my chromaticisms and my pentatonic, like really focus on that, because I wanted to be a musician. And after that, it became, as you can imagine, like the obsession we all have, and then many, many hours. And the journey was, I mean, it's the best thing that happened in my life. I always say that I think I'm more in love with the instrument than I'm in love with the music itself, I think.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And did you have lessons starting out, or were
Yes.
you mostly self-taught?
No. I had lessons. I had a beautiful teacher back then, and but he was back then there was like two teachers in my city. It was a small one, so he was all about blues, jazz, and funk, and I was all about Metallica and Megadeth. But he was like, I cannot play that. So I spent like my first years learning how to play those styles, like very deep, like a lot of jazz and a lot of like theory and modes and everything. But I was happy about it, and after that it was cool because I had like pretty a solid foundation, like reading music and shit like that. And but yeah, I wanted to go like full Ingve Mastin, but no one could teach me, and there was no internet. So yeah, I was spending most of the time working on my funk chops and some improvisations, and like trying to do all that stuff. But yeah, I have beautiful memories of the learning process. Every time, I mean, I teach myself. Like this is the thing I love the most regarding music, like teaching. But every time I can, I try to find someone to teach me as well, to understand new stuff and be excited about some new things to learn.
Mm.
By the
And so how?
way, sorry, by the way, I have a student, I think it's on the chat. It's Gun Lagur. Gun, I think I pronounced it right. He's a huge fan of your band. He told me it's actually
Oh,
my friend now at this point. And I told him that I will tell you he's a huge fan of your band, and I promise him to tell you. So I just wanted to do that. Okay? I think it's somewhere there.
thank you so much. And there is another message from the chat. Mafaldine says Spiritual Migration will belong in her top 10 albums ever.
Yeah, that
So,
album, man. It's like I kind of hate it at this point, but yes, it's
yeah,
there.
really?
It's that one. No, don't hate
I
it.
discovered your band with this record, actually. So,
Yeah, it's like everyone likes that one. I mean, I will tell you something. I mean, I like the album, sure, but you're a musician yourself. When you create an album, you kind of I like to say it's a picture of your life at that moment. You remember all the process, and I remember when we were doing the spiritual migration, it wasn't a really personal good moment for us. Many problems, and then it was very difficult to do, and many inner struggles and whatever it was. And then the album came out, and nothing happened. Like it was like a completely unknown album at that point. So every time I cannot listen to it because it brings me really very bad memories.
oh,
I
really?
can play it because it's different when you play the songs with people and people is happy to hear the songs, and I'm happy to be people happy to see people happy. But I never ever listened to it because it was so difficult to do. And then every album we release, everyone is like, "This is very nice," but that one is the good one. It's like okay, whatever. But yes, it's okay. I'm happy by it. I'm happy people like something. Mafaldin, thank you very much. I love the album. Love you as well.
And coming back to your, you mentioned you learned like playing funk and everything, but how did you then learn to be like Ingrid Malmsteen, as you said? Did you do it mostly by yourself then, or find another teacher, listen to
No,
records?
yes, a lot of listening and trial and error and very slow. And then they were back then in the 90s, there were these VHS videos, with some guitar players, but I didn't know how to speak English and they were very expensive. So maybe I could go with my mom and tell her, I really want this because it was like an exportation, very, maybe you ordered that tape and then it was like 6 months waiting to it. So I remember I asked for some of them, and then when you have that, it's like visuals. Like now with YouTube, is everything is there, and you can tell like young people like you guys, and even younger people, they have a huge technique in few times. They understand everything, but for me, it was like very slow. And I remember I spent many times, trying to understand what was going on there and trying to get that in without my English in there. So I didn't understand a word. I was trying to mimic all the motions, and try to get the mechanics, but mostly it was like that. And then other guitar players, friends, your own experimentation a lot. I was trying to figure it out myself. Yeah, it was slow, but it was like very exciting to go through that process.
And I guess your knowledge that you acquired from the different styles helped you to understand quicker what was going on.
Yes, some of that. I mean, when it comes to technique, like for example, when I was, of course, I wanted to do my sweeps and I wanted to do my tappings and my crazy stuff. but some of the techniques didn't translate very good because I had this foundation on classic things, and when I had to to move into the other stuff, it was difficult. I remember, for example, when I was about picking, it's like everyone, when we start, we go with the economy pick because it's easier for us to go down, 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 up, up, up. And then I found my first Paul Gilbert video, and he was alternating like a crazy maniac, and I felt in love with the sound of that. I want to do that, but my technique was like in reverse, so I had
Yeah.
to relearn to do that. It was very frustrating to get the outside motion, and yeah, it was a ride. I remember that, but I really, I feel blessed about that because guitar has been in my life for a long, long time, and as much as I like playing live or making the music with the band or whatever, I love practicing and teaching like the most, and then I can do it everywhere. And then every time I play my guitar, and I'm happy to see that I can play the stuff I was in love back then. I mean, I really feel very, very blessed about this process.
It's amazing to hear. So you still practice a lot of guitar?
Sure, I practice as much
Metal?
as I can, but I don't practice like metal guitar at all, other than if we have tours or whatever. I practice stuff that I'm really bad at it. I'm always in that situation where you don't know what you're doing. Like, so I feel like a student all the time. Like I'm really bad at some things, and I try to feel the progress slowly, and I practice as much as I can.
What are you working on at the moment?
I'm working a lot in inversions and chord voicings and improvisation, a lot of improvisation on chord changes and vocabulary, fret improvisation, like trying to be fast with that, and maybe try to transcribe other instruments, like in solos from other people, some of that stuff. Anything that I'm playing a lot with my classical guitar, because I'm really bad at it. I'm really very bad at it. So I try hard with my, my right hand, throw the pick and try to do some interesting things with my hand. A lot of funk. I can play funk like decently, but I practice it a lot as well because I like it very much. And I don't know. I try to play as well with many people here in Andorra, different styles as well, like funk musicians, and I play with them and whatever. Yeah, everything is nice. I mean, I like to play guitar, and then I don't care the style.
Yeah,
Of
amazing.
course,
And
metal
that's
has this thing, we love it, and it's the passion and the fury and everything, and the technical part of it. But when it comes to myself, I do other stuff.
you mainly play metal just for writing new music and preparing for tours, right?
Yeah, because yeah, mostly because I'm in love with the style as well. It was my first love, and then sometimes I feel like I'm into my other music I'm listening all the time, and but then you go to the rehearsing room and then you feel the power again, and then it's like you are like,
Mhm.
I love this, man, it's like the best thing ever. And then you go to a live situation with all the big sound and everything and the people and the aggression, and you love that as well. So but yeah, when it comes to practice, I try to be as perfect as I can with my guitar playing, of course, because I try to. But when I'm off season, then I'm playing other stuff all the time. Yeah.
Do you have other projects, or is it just like jamming with different people and or do you have
sometimes
like
they
solid project?
sometimes they hire me, like they need a guitar player, and they call me like, do you want to play with me? I don't know, whatever. Yes, I can. Sure. And then I go, and then I completely out of my comfort zone, and I have a hard time, and then it's fun, and then I learn something, and then I go back. And so I've been playing with a lot of people in these years, especially here in Andorra. And I do also studio sessions as well in the studio here. So some musicians go there and they have to play some guitars, or no, no. It's like my. I don't have any other I have I play in a band, in a punk rock band. I've been
Cool.
playing there for a long time, where I play my Hello Kitty Squire thing, and I have a blonde wig with me, and then with some more Tony and Bobby from Persephone. They play there as well, and then we play like punk covers of 80s artists, like like, Madonna or whatever. And then that's kind of my band as well. So we play a lot with that one because it's very fun. We never rehearse. We go there, we just play. I can improvise every guitar solo. It's fun. But no, other than that, that's it. This is what it is.
That's
Okay,
great.
so you actually live in Andorra right now? How's the
Sure.
music scene there?
Very small, very small,
Yeah, I guess
very
so.
small. Yeah, there's no now. Right now, we have like a new metal band going on here. We're very happy. We are not alone anymore.
Oh,
They're called In Eclipse. They are like trying to do. They have like 2 video clips now. They're very nice. And other than that, we have like songwriters and singers and like, things like that. And because this is very small, we know each other. So we are all the time playing with all the. We know them, and they support the band a lot. Persephone, even when they don't really like the music, but it's lovely.
and, yeah, so you basically are a working musician. You mentioned you teach as well, so it's not like your full-time job.
Yes, it's been for some years now, and I'm again very very grateful for that.
It's mostly teaching.
I'm teaching, and also I work in a company called Sonos, and we make music for video games and movies and,
Oh,
and advertisings and stuff like that. And we've been doing that for some years now, and I'm doing like both things at the same time, and so far it's working pretty well. And also, as I told you, sometimes they hire me to play, I don't know, like with people, and I don't know, I just go and play, and yeah, I try to mix. Musicians, we try to mix it up as much as we can to
yeah.
have a living, decent living.
So you're composing music for this company? Is it like guitar-oriented stuff?
No,
Or
I do all the stuff like orchestrations, whatever. I've been
yeah,
because Mo from Persephone, he's also in the company, and he's like the major in orchestration and violins and shit like that. But I also had to upgrade my game on that, because sometimes like we have like some video games are like, I don't know, farm video games. You have to make music for banjo or something like that, and then you have to be creative with all the libraries. And of course, I have to play guitar sometimes, or bass, anything. It depends on the people that hires you.
okay, super cool. And this company is based in Andorra as well?
Yes. We're here in Andorra.
Great. And like, is it the same approach you would have composing a song like that and composing for Persephone, for example, like working on the computer, or
No.
absolutely not at all?
Oh, it's the opposite. Like, no. Mainly because when you write music for other people, it's different, because you need to meet other people's expectations, which is different than your own expectations. So I think in the company in Sonos, I think the thing is that we try to understand what the client want you to do, because sometimes they don't have the vocabulary to express it at all, and it's very difficult. So it's not that I want to like my own music when it comes to the company. I don't care if I like it. I care if the other guy's like, yes, perfect, that's what I wanted to listen. It's beautiful, so we're in the right place, and then we can do it and do that. When it comes to Persephone, it's a horrible experience. You may know, you have a band, it's like nothing we play I like. Everything we play is lame. It's we argue a lot. We have these wars in the studio all the time. You work for 6 hours, then you have 10 seconds of music, and then the next day you don't like it anymore. It's a different approach, definitely.
To tell us about the process, like how does a Persephone song start out? Who is involved in the writing, and how does it evolve from there?
Yeah. So, for example, with the company, with Sonos, we use the computer to do the music and everything. With Persephone, we try to be like people in the same room as much as we can. We write the old school, so we have the Cubase to work with, but we record everything live. We do these rough demos that sounds like shit. But we need for a riff to go into the album. I have to be able to play it. Even if it's really sloppy, but I have to be able to play like real thing, because you can get lost with the computer at times. I'm not. I feel like I don't have the patience, to go through the edition and everything. So it's a pretty organic thing. So usually we work with Bobby, the drummer, and Mo, the keyboard player, at the beginning. We try to do the core ideas, and then we show to the rest of the band so they can add their stuff as well. And then we go, like, for example, the core ideas, and then we go with the arrangements. I think it's the same. Then the last thing you do is maybe the vocals, even when we know where we want to put them, and then the solos and all that stuff. But mainly we work like 3 guys at the same place, and it's horrible because we just are arguing all the time about every note, and it's a very toxic environment all the time. I have to say.
I could never do that. That's crazy. And so, how much is happening in the rehearsal room? How much changes afterwards?
And there, after you mean after the
After the
album is
rough
done?
demos, or
Oh,
maybe.
not much, not much. We add some stuff, but mostly the once we like the idea, because we work a lot. It's like a very slow process. We take a look of every note, every idea, every snare, every whatever, and then once we go through that process very slow, then it's like this is it. This is what it should be. Maybe you change a little bit because someone can maybe they like to another approach, and you can make some modifications. But if you listen to the demos we did for Metanoia, for example, and you listen to the final product, is virtually the same. It's most the same idea. Nothing. It's not very open to improvisation, I think.
Okay. And so these demos, do you then re-record them like better to have like a fuller version of the song with vocals on top of it and stuff
Yeah,
like
we
that?
do.
Yeah.
Not. No, I don't think the demo usually has the drums, some orchestrations, and then guitars. But the bass we do it at the end as well usually. So when we start recording like the real thing, you go and you record the real guitars, then we add the rest. Like when the vocalist, when Mark comes to the studio, we actually do the final ideas with him. We discuss all the lines with him in the studio, and then we do it at the end. But the core is like those three instruments and with some little rough ideas, any guitar solo, but on that we start to put in all the little details at the end, and then we work on the orchestrations and the production and all the effects and all that, the other stuff. It's kind of it's a process that is like very organized in the end. It's like a system at this point.
Okay, so I was going to ask, yeah, if you had the same process on all the previous records.
Yeah, mostly the same, because I think it's the way we have been working for a long time. So yeah, it's like with the pandemic, the lockdown, many people were writing music in the at home. We just stopped writing at that point because we wanted to be together at the same room
Mm.
again. We don't know how to do it like at home, one guy, and then send the files. We don't know how to do that, so we were like we're just stopping. And then when this passes, then we go again at it.
Okay. And do you bring ideas to the rehearsal room, or is it like fully being born there?
No, 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 no. I have to say, I think maybe Bobby is on the chat because I think he's the drummer. He will tell you. Maybe he's. I'm. I don't like the idea of going into the rehearsing room to work on something and try to create the things, because you know how to play the stuff, and then it's very difficult to create something really interesting from the top
Mm.
of your head. It's like it's not. I feel very lack of respect on that. So we always tell the people, if you want to add something, you have to try to get something from home. Try to add whatever, a beat, an idea, a clear idea of what to work with. Because if you don't have anything to start with, it's like the first thing I mean, I don't like that. I want to, because I like to spend some time at home working on some riff that I think, okay, this is good enough, to work with, and then I present to them, and then we can go from there. But yeah, I really prefer to have something to work with, because no focus is always a recipe of disaster. Many arguments.
So you mentioned this process has been the same on all these records. Are there any things that you improved or you changed still that you noticed didn't work? Did you ever try something out that didn't work? Or
Yeah, mostly on the recording part of the process, because we didn't have any idea. So would you do something, then you do it wrong, then it sounds very, very bad, and then you try to, and then you go like, oh, we did wrong with that. Let's do another album, try to fix that. But when it comes to writing music, not really different. Now, for example, Bobby, the drummer, he's really involved on the writing. And for example, on this album, for the first time we wrote something together without the keyboard player, like the first time, and that felt really weird. Like it's like cheating. I miss him, but it was no, it was the only way to create the music at that point. And then, so that's kind of new. But other than that, exactly the same. We are old people. We like the things traditional, like the way.
And what's your relationship with like music theory when you compose? Is it something you have always in mind,
Yes,
or yeah?
all the time, all the time. To me, because I don't really believe on, like inspiration or things like that. I try to analyze all the time. Like we have these areas, as you may know, you have the rhythmic ideas, then you have the harmonic ideas, the melodic ideas, then you have the production ideas, on the style ideas, even the technique. So I try to keep in mind all of them, and I try to understand what's going on all the time before I say anything. So everything is like, you know we know what we're doing, and then we have the tools to try to go somewhere from there, because you know what you're doing. It's not like trying to play things and see what happens. Sometimes, of course, you try something, it's like, that sounds good, but at the end of the day, we try to understand music theory, all of us, because it's the language you have to understand, to talk with the other musicians. So
Yeah.
that we have been trying to improve on that every album, to be able to. It's faster if you know to how to approach, like, technically what you want to listen and to hear, and to play or whatever.
Yeah, especially as you're creating the music together, I think it's very important that you have this language you can use to go a lot faster, I think.
Sure. I mean, I'm really picky with that with them. It's like all the conversation in the studio are really like, what do you mean? It's like, I like the riff, but it's like not very, you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean. Tell me what it is you want to say. Try to find the words and say them, because yes, if you don't do that, it's very difficult to make music together. It's complicated. In Persephone, I mean, when I play with other people, it doesn't matter, because people, whatever, they say whatever, and then you play whatever. You try to do your thing with theory, but people, sometimes they don't care. So it's like, okay, whatever.
And what's the first element that comes when you write a riff? Is it like a rhythmic idea, harmony? Have
Yes.
any recipe there, or?
Yeah, usually myself, I try to think first on the rhythmic idea. And the first thing I try to do is to fix a tempo. Because I had this mistake in the past. You're at home, you practice one riff at the tempo that feels good for your technique. It looks good, feels good. You go to the studio, maybe it's too fast for the song or too slow for the song. And it's like, and then you try to change the tempo and it doesn't feel the same. It's like, oh man. So tempo is very important, and then the rhythmic idea has to be really important. It's like like a template, and then the harmony, like the chords behind or the scale I want to use, and then usually some references for other music that helps. That idea of that kind of passage, like in this song. Okay, I understand. Okay, so that's like the starting point. Then you have like all aligned, like this is the scale, blah, blah, blah. Maybe the scale doesn't fit. Okay, let's change it. We try to make these little adjustments, and then hopefully that works into something that actually works. But the first, to me, is the rhythmic. The rhythm is very important, like the most important thing in the beginning of anything.
You mentioned that you are learning a lot of different styles, always eager to learn something new. Do you ever come across like a concept that you tell yourself, yeah, I definitely want to incorporate that into a song or something like that?
Yeah,
Be it
sure.
a harmonic idea or whatever.
All the time, all the time. I remember when I was working on the um, uh, seventh chord inversions on the guitar, for jazz purposes, like for making a standard and try to play it differently. And then I remember I was working on the maybe like first inversion of the major seventh chord, and I was playing that. And then if you play that inversion and without context of the root, and it's kind of a minor thing. Sorry, I'll play it for you
Yeah,
because
minor flat six, something.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. You have this idea. And then I heard that, and I was like, "Oh, that's very good." And then I want to use it on the Persephone thing, because I like the voicing, and I use that on the Athma intro. So sometimes, yeah, I try to do that. Or maybe you're with funk ideas, and then you have this crazy rhythmic pattern. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I will try to put in some place. I know all the time, even in production ideas. You're listening to electronic music or whatever. It's like, oh, that's very good. I will try to translate it. So yeah, all the time, and soundtracks as well. Motions, modulations. Like, this is very good. I will use it. Like I remember there was one song we did called In La Catch, which was like a single. There was this bridge, like a arpeggio bridge for everyone to do like unison thing. And I was listening to, I don't know which soundtrack, but it was like this kind of a major triad with a raised fifth, and it's like very dreamy, a cinematic sound and octavation. And I was like, I'm definitely using that there. And I did. And then all the time, every time I played, like, yeah, I did that because of that movie, that soundtrack. So all the time, yes.
I think that's a great way to expand like the metal vocabulary because you can draw inspiration from so many different genres and styles like classical music, film score music. There's so much to be taken into like the energy of metal, I think, and
I
I can
think.
definitely hear that in your music.
Thank you very much. Hopefully. Not funk yet. No, they don't allow me, but maybe in the future I can go
You
like
mentioned the rhythmical approach, maybe that a little bit. I don't know.
a little bit. I will try.
And regarding the recording process, how did that evolve?
No man, it evolved from an 8-track at home, with cassette, and then to first album we did it with like Pro Tools and like the basic one, and at home in a room with a microphone and a computer, and then the amplifier. I don't know, man. It's been crazy. Like the first two albums, we didn't have any way to record the drums properly, so we had to write them back then, in a computer. Because nowadays the drums, they sound pretty convincing in a computer. You can do a fairly good thing. But back then, the tones, it was very, very, very harsh. And we did that because no way to do it in a real environment. There were any studio in Andorra to do that, and we could not go to Spain or France to do that. So nowadays we have more resources. We have better equipment because we record everything ourselves all the time, even the last album. So in the last album, for example, we worked with David Castillo, and he was really involved on the recording, like from Sweden. He was like, okay, place the microphone here for the snare, place the microphone there for the kick drum, do this with the guitar, whatever, like so many advices. So we tried to follow them to create a good sound. But yeah, many, many, many improvements. And again, we did many mistakes on this one again. So we need to do
Yeah.
another one to try to top them.
What kind of mistakes did you want to improve?
Yes, for example, layering. With the layering, we were a little bit too over the top at times. Sometimes you put too much layering on some parts, and then in the mixing process, you want everything. Like, if the arrangement is not good at the beginning, if the arrangement is good, you don't need many instruments to make that work. We had this the beginning of one song. I won't say the name because then people will cannot see it in other way. But I remember I had this riff, and during the whole process, I was like, this riff is not working. It's not, I mean, the idea is not bad, but the arrangement isn't good. And then these arguments with the keyboard player, no, but in the studio, we're fixing the mix, in the studio, it will be perfect. Don't worry. It's because of whatever technical reason. I was, no, it's not working. And then we did. And then at some point in the internet, YouTube, one guy was like, I don't know what happens with the beginning of the song, but the riff is a little bit off. And I was like, yeah, I told you, not good enough. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. But I remember I told him, it doesn't feel really beefy. It doesn't really feel really aggressive. And he was like, don't worry, I will add some like very aggressive keyboards behind. Like, let's put some shit in there. And it didn't work. So if the arrangement is not good in the beginning, it doesn't matter how hard you try. It just doesn't work. So yeah, there's something we learn on this one. That you want to do like more is more, but sometimes you just need to find the perfect. Maybe we are not good musicians enough, but we should try to be more focused on the arrangements. For example, that's one thing we really need to improve. Or we want to improve on the next one.
And regarding the tracking, you mentioned you did everything yourself. Do you have a studio now to track all of that?
Home studios. It's a home studio. Yeah, we have like not
For the
very
drums
big.
as well?
No, for the drums, we have a really great relationship with the Andorran government. And then we know that in the National Auditorium, they had a beautiful, beautiful room, like very nice to record. So we asked them, like, can we go there for a week and record some metal drums in there? We're like, sure, do that. So we were there with all the studio. We placed the mics there. We spent 1 week working together, and then we put everything again in the boxes. Go home. Thank you very much, and then send the files. But yeah, we don't have a place to work with the draft. We need to find places.
You mentioned Andorra is very supportive. Are they other like big names in music in general from Andorra? Or
We have like big names. I don't think so, but for example, we have this artist called Landry Riva. He plays this kind of atmospheric, like strings, very slow things like Olafur Arnason. This kind of music. So he's doing that for a while, like 4 albums, and very very nice. And then we have a funk fusion band. It's been forever playing like great musicians called Hysteria Funk, and they are doing like many albums as well. They are not like big, but they are like big here because we all know them, and they are like the best musicians around, and we're always happy to go and see them play all the time. And so yeah, we have some bands here, but nothing really international, I think.
okay, so I guess they're particularly happy to support you since you are quite touring a lot and getting recognition abroad. So
Yeah,
that's yeah.
it's fun. I mean, even because sometimes we usually are in the newspapers, for example, or if we have a tour or whatever, or the television, because they know us, and there's nothing. I mean, there's more musical related news at times, but when we do something, it's like they work to cover that. So I remember, for example, I went to the grocery store one day. We were before going on tour, and then the lady in there, she told me like, "Are you that guy from this band? You're playing this music and you go all around?" Yes, I am. I'm so happy you're doing that. It's crazy good, but the music you do is so awkward. So thank you very much. I don't like it, but I'm happy you're doing that. So that happens a lot. So people is like, we love the idea. They support us, because we're doing a lot of promotion. Even the government, we talk a lot with them. They are happy that they gave us a Andorran flag, like the official one, when we went to Wacken to play, and then we put the flag in there, and then even the crowd was happy about it. Like this guy from this little country is like, yeah, the Andorrans. So yeah, I think it's a curious thing, but yeah, people really support us a lot in here, or we feel that way.
That's sick.
Many inhabitants
that's
are there
awesome.
in Andorra?
Sorry,
Many people live in Andorra?
70,000 people.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
We know all of us, mostly.
that's great that all the country is supporting you in a way. That's it's really awesome.
It's beautiful, and it's even better when you play death metal. I mean,
Yeah, but
it's a lovely thing.
it's something to be proud of. I think to have
Yeah.
the national band. It's a death metal band.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing. I mean, when people like you talk about that, like I mean, they are lovely. They are like, we're happy to that, but they never listen to the music. It's like my mother. I mean, she's proud of me, but of course, she never listens to anything I do.
so
Because, for example, in the company, this company we have in Andorra, we've been working lately in a television show, like national television show for many countries, and it's music for kids. It's a show for kids, like 4 years old. So we're playing like 145 degrees of the scale, like all the time. And then my mother, for example, is very happy about that. It's like, the music you do there is beautiful, But yeah, with the band, not that much.
I think the Bobishka just followed us on Twitch is maybe the
He's-
drummer of Persephone by any chance.
Yes. He's
Cheers.
actually the drummer.
Yeah, cheers, man. Welcome here.
He's the man. He's the man. Oh, is there? Yeah, I won't say anything bad about him because he's a huge guy, If you can punch me in the face tomorrow, don't want to do that. And because I love him somehow. That's well, we're kind of friends.
That's a good reason.
Yes.
And regarding music, how does your music translate live? Do you have to rethink everything in order to make like a live arrangement of the song, or not at all?
You go because with all the layering, we have like many things that we want. It's a trying to find the equilibrium. You want to play as much live as you can, like real thing, but sometimes here and there, like this second vocals when you want to hear, and then you have this backing track with it, maybe this orchestra you want to have like full, because our keyboard player only has like 10 fingers. Shame, he only can play some. And then he's all like, I need some help with that. And then we maybe put some tracks with him but we try not to be like all over the top with that, and just maybe one guitar solo, some little harmony can be there, at the end of the guitar solo, because but hopefully we try to play as much as we can, and try to, because once you listen to the album, you may know that you listen to the album for a long time, you get used to the songs, and then you go to the rehearsal room, you try the song for the first time, and it sounds like shit. It's like, oh, this sounds very bad. Nothing like in the album. So you need to redo it again until you feel comfortable with it. But life is life at the end of the day. So yeah, some slight changes and accustom the ear a little bit.
And what are your greatest memories like playing live? Or festivals?
Many of them, I have to say. For me, like one of the best, I think it was first time in Japan. First time in Japan was like something very special to me, because it was like my dream, because all the bands I liked back then, all of them played in Japan, and I wanted to do it myself as well. And I didn't want to go to Japan because I like the culture a lot for many reasons, and I didn't want to go there if it wasn't with the band. I wanted to be invited to go there before I went there to whatever tourism. And what happens, I remember we were invited to go to China first, and then we went to China, and I was like pushing a lot to try to go to Japan, like with the promoter, please, 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 and we could not do it. And then we come back to Andorra. I was like, it was so close, so close. And then after that, they asked us to go to China again and to Japan. And it was like, I don't know, like 20 years in the process. In fact, when had the first album, I remember this conversation with the band. Like we're gonna play in Japan one day. It was like something I knew was gonna happen. So it was like a promise to me. So I remember when we did the whole thing, and then I remember going in the plane, and then when we land off in Japan, and I actually cried in the airplane because I was so happy about that. I was like, man, finally. And I had this beautiful memory, but I have many of them. Like for example, Wacken, because it's Wacken, it's like, again, like a milestone for the band, even when the show was full of accidents and shit like that. But the memory remains. You're there with your friends, and it's crazy. Or the 70K with tons of metal as well, like all the crazy things. China as well. In China, we played in front of like 5,000 people in a festival, because of, I don't know why, first time ever. It's something that I remember was there, because it was a festival, and we were the last band to play in Beijing, and there was another huge band that played at the same time, but something happened with the band, and then they could not play. So people they wanted to see a show. The only show available was Persefone. So everyone in the festival, they came to see us. It was like a lot of people for the first time. It was like many people. And then I remember I thought to myself, so this is what it feels, because it was the first time. And it was a little bit intimidating. But then I told to the keyboard player, to Mo, I remember I was yelling on the stage, man, you have to record this, because in Andorra, no one is going to believe this. You need to record it. So you have like many beautiful memories, and from other shows that maybe they are not that fancy, but maybe, I don't know, it's special for you for, I don't know, many reasons, or it's a good one, or maybe you even some on tours, you make friends, and then you have beautiful memories with these new friends, and yeah, things like that. That's a good part of playing live, and meet people. That's the good thing. Yeah, many of them.
We saw you guys at Metal Days 2017 because we played there as well. Do you remember this particular show?
Yeah, sure. I remember. It was the Abath accident in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Same year, exactly.
We saw it.
Witnessed it, did you?
Yeah, we witnessed it.
We saw the Abath accident live.
No way. No, only the replay. What happens there? I have memories on that show, because we played on the main stage for some reason, and I remember, I think Architects, they had to play as well, but they canceled. So the promoters called us and they were like, okay, we're moving you, so, but you need to play more songs, and we were like, ugh. And then we had one song we had, like, we usually play it right. And then I have like the craziest guitar solo in there. So, when you have in the back of your head, like, I will have a hard time with the guitar solo. And then the stage was so huge. You remember the two screens in there? And then I remember we were preparing to go because we don't use amplifiers live. Everything is line, So with the in-ear and everything. And then I remember nothing worked. By the time we were on stage, I only could hear the click track and part of my guitar. That was it. And then I freaked out a lot. It was pretty difficult to play. Then Philippe, the other guitar player, he broke the amplifier middle set. So everything was wrong, but we tried to pull it out, very difficult. And then that song came in. I remember I went out to the stage, like, very, very, very worried about it, because I was like, I cannot listen, I cannot hear anything. And then my wife was in the first row, and he was like looking at me, like, imagine all that people. I was looking at my wife, and she was like, "Come on, smile a little bit, smile, come on, smile." I was like, I was freaking out so much. So at the end, that song happened. And then I was thinking all the time of the guitar solo, like, guitar solo, the guitar solo, guitar solo. And then you can tell when it happened, the guitar solo happened, I fucked it up so bad, right? I messed it up a lot. I was so pissed off about that yeah, it ruined my day somehow. And then I came back to Andorra, and I remember I played the song, the guitar solo, one take for the Instagram, for people to see that I was able to play it, because my
Yes.
I remember
I
that.
remember that you looked. I mean that there were obvious like technical problems, but I think you still did a good job despite all of that.
Thank
Yeah,
you very
well,
much. I remember I was very stressful.
I do
Yes,
have
please.
a really good memory of this show, so yeah, it wasn't so bad, I think. But
But
to be
yeah, please
honest,
go.
to be honest, I think what people remembered was the Star Wars song.
We played that there? Yes.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
was gonna
Yeah.
ask, was it on the set list, or did you like add it because of the added length?
Yes, because we tried to get rid of that thing for years, but people liked it because we played this festival in Germany, like the first time we went to a festival outside of Andorra, and we played that song, and then people was crazy about that song because they didn't know any other songs. So we did that, and came to Andorra. Like 2 years later, that very festival, they booked us again. Can you come back again? Yeah, sure. Happy to go there. It wasn't it's a Dong opener. I was the one. So we went there, and then with a new album, and then happy to play new songs, and then we were like messing around there, and then the promoter came in. Oh, we're happy you're here again. Oh, thank you very much. So you ready for the Star Wars thing again? And we're like, not really. We're not playing it anymore. And he's like, the face was like, he was like, but you have to play it, isn't it? They were like, not really, but you have to play that song. It was like serious about it, like, but we don't know how to play it anymore. But can you learn it? It was like, and we played it. We were,
Oh, yeah.
on the camping trying to listen. I think it was this way. You remember, like air drumming, and we did it, and then we were pissed off about it. So we played all the songs, and people was there like waiting, and we're playing. We were very proud of the new songs, playing all them. We are very technical and very nice. And then people were like, every time we end a song, people were like waiting, like maybe it's now, like this song is called whatever. They were another one, and then at some point it was like, the next song is a surprise, and people, yes, Star
Okay.
Wars, yes, and we played like felt like But anyway, we did it.
Yeah.
People was happy about it.
But yeah, this is a killer track. But yeah, the risk is you are remembered as the band who played the Star Wars song, and it's a bit of a shame. Instead of like original songs, original compositions, people will prefer to hear the Star Wars one. It's a bit too bad if you ask me.
Yeah, it feels bad. I mean, when we did that, like the first time, we were very, very proud of the arrangement. Like, it sounds very good because we like John Williams a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an awesome track, but yeah. Oh yeah, very nice.
Yes, and of course, we love it. But it was. I remember the day we were making the arrangement. I can do it later. and we're very proud of it. But at some point, we were like, "Oh, I really despise the day we did that."
No, but I think it works fine in a festival context because you may be playing for a lot of new fans that potentially will remember you because of this and then check out your songs. So I guess it's still like
Definitely.
a smart choice.
Definitely. Even on tour, when we toured with Lepros, we still played that. And it was fine because when we played that song on tour, we used the song to invite other musicians for other bands to play, like for the drums or a melody. I remember Einstein from Lepros, we became friends on tour. And in the last show, one of the shows, we were learning like da 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 da, like the last melody, and then he came on the stage. I played the guitar, like very dramatic, and he played the song with, with the hoodie, like Darth Vader. Yeah, good memories with that, like to be true. But yeah, not anymore. That's it. We did it, and
Really?
I think we're done
Mentioned the
with
tour with Leprous. When was that?
2013.
Okay, so it was for Cole.
Bilateral,
Oh,
bilateral.
Bilateral still, yeah.
It was my favorite album actually, so that was cool.
The headlining and you
They
won the
were
bill.
headlining. We were like were four bands, and they were headlining. Then a band called from Sweden. They were called Lock. They are called Lock Bostock, and they are a huge friend of us at this point. Like we've been playing with them for a long time. Then Persephone, and then another band from Norway called Orkenjot. And yeah, we learned a lot because lepros were in the way up, And I remember I never listened to them before, to be true. But then I remember the first show, and then it was like, oh my god, these guys, poof, they were so professional, like with the little televisions and all the stuff and all the wow, I was blown away. And we were like a punk band, punk rock band. We were like plug it in, whatever T-shirt we have, hang on, let's play. No click track, whatever. So yeah, we learned a lot. They were kick-ass, and then we had this relationship from there, and that's why we have A&R in the album now, and we have kind of a relationship with them. Yeah, good people.
Yeah, they're crazy good live.
It's incredible. I mean, yeah,
And they keep getting better, like improving on the show, every aspect of it.
it's amazing. We learned a lot from them. Then I went to Norway to visit Einstein, like months later, and we spent some time. And I remember talking with him about. We try not to talk about bands all the time because we had their wives and everything. You can be like all the time with the same topic. But we were discussing that, and he was very open to tell me, how do you do this? And he will give me some advice. And I was like, this is crazy. It's a good idea. Like recording the rehearsings, to see if in the scenario it feels good to the eye. And crazy things. That's why they're there. I mean, they are hard workers, very talented, but very hard workers. I mean, they have been releasing music non-stop from a long time, and of course, the A&R is an amazing singer, and yeah, crazy good band. We're very happy we crossed paths at some point because it was only possible back then because they were playing kind of metal a little bit in bilateral. But nowadays, it's impossible to tour with them anymore because they are playing this kind of more soft side, and we are like going wilder. So it was a beautiful thing to happen.
Definitely. What was yeah, regarding your live rig right now. So you mentioned back then you didn't play with a click track and not at all. And nowadays you play now with in-ears, I guess click
Yes.
track and
Yeah.
no amplifiers on stage.
Yes.
What are you using?
I'm using the Helix Line 6 Helix Stomp, like the small one, like this. That's it. That's my rig. Nothing else. I think Philip has a river or something like that. I mean, we're still very punk rock oriented kind of band, But now it's like digital punk rock band, like because it's very. It was difficult for me to. Do you play with amplifiers still, or do you go full digital with?
No, we are using Camper now as well.
That's it. But I at the beginning, I the lack of power in the stage, like feeling it when you play, the chunky parts. It was difficult for me to get rid of that. I was so used to that. And the light sound, like everything is in there. I'm very bad at making my mix as well. I'm very bad at that. So yeah, but I then it's very useful when you go on tour or you can use the same thing everywhere because you can travel with it, which is very nice. Back then it was like we're playing in China. What is my amplifier? This is Marshall TH100. Okay, do you have Do you have an overdrive for me? No. Okay, nice. I have straight to the amplifier. Okay, good luck. So that happened many times. But nowadays it's very easy. Everything sounds the same. So yeah, I'm trying to improve on that as well, because I'm not really good at dialing sounds and spend time with the knobs and all that stuff.
Did you transition to that like all at the same time, switching to in-ears and
Yeah.
digital amplifiers, so removing everything from stage at the same time?
Very traumatic situation. Yes, we did that, and yeah, it was difficult to do. But yeah, because we had Bobby, and he's like younger, and like Philippe, and they are like hungry, and they have different approaches. And then we were like, this is the way we do whatever. But they were like pushing a lot, especially Bobby. We need to do this, the clear track, blah blah blah. This is the way we have to do it. So you just go, okay, I will try. And it was difficult at the beginning, but now I understand it's perfect. Now you listen to them, the live YouTube, people recording and everything, and you can see that it sounds very clean and very nice, and yeah, they were right about it. But when I play with my punk rock band, I usually go with my amplifier, because
The amplifier is that?
it's a Black Star like Valve amplifier, like yeah, nothing really fancy, and it's like very, it's old and full of I beat up like a lot of like the pass of time. You can feel it when you see the amplifier.
Mm.
Many words on that one. Many words.
And what did you track the albums with?
We did guitars. We did with a DA. I mean, we did it just the line, and we sent it to David, and then he did the reamping on the studio with some amplifiers. I think it was a Diesel and PP or something like that. But another thing we want to improve, because again, he told me the demos I played, because I play with a plugin, whatever plugin we're using on the studio to create the lines. I had some riffs that they felt very good, on the demo, and then when I had the real thing, it wasn't the same. Like not that powerful. And I told David, "What happened here? It should be better." And he told me that that's true. When you, as a guitar player, when you have the sound you're recording, you adapt your playing on the sound to get the sound you want to listen, And then when you do the reamping, the amplifier is different, so the sound is different, so it doesn't go that well. So he told me, next time you should come here and then put the amplifier and then do your takes here, because it will sound even more organic and alive than this one, because you try to nail the perfect take. But then the little nuances, like the way you place your hand, the palm you try to do these little motions to get the sound you want, the harmonic. But then on other amplifier, it sounds different because it's another response. And I never thought on that. So yeah, another thing we want to improve.
Okay. And so you're using then kind of an emulation of that studio sound live with the Helix, or
At all.
not really?
No.
Find something that works and
like I had one student. He told me he's very into that, and I was like, "Can you do it for me?" I was like, "Sure." Do you know what is an IR response impulse? No. Give me your Helix. I will do it for you. So he did all the things, and then like that. And I remember I had all the presets on the Helix. That's true. And then for me, when you are trying to find the bank, they put some messages for me like, you not this one, old man, you are almost there, come on, a little bit more, come on, hey, just stay here please. And then you go back, no, go back. So it's just for me, lovely people.
Regarding guitars, what are your main axes?
I'm now working with Jackson guitars for some time now. Dream come true for me, because again, I'm old and Jackson was the shit when I was young. And so now I'm playing Jackson guitars, and they were kind enough. Let's really put this here. My computer is shutting off. Okay, nice. So I'm playing, they sent me this one because it's a 7-string, because the new album is played with 7 strings for the first time. Again, I'm trying to get used because I'm a 6-string guitar player. But yeah, it's like with
Evertune.
Evertune, yes, getting used, because did you use one before?
I just tried like a couple of minutes, but not really.
Chris,
No.
have you done this when you put the stuff, you can play bendings? Have you tried that? It's weird as shit.
I didn't have really time to adjust, but I was always worried about it, like having the
Yes.
vibrato.
Yeah, you can actually shut it off, like for real. Let me try to do it for you for a moment. Yeah, like that. For example, I don't know if you can listen to it, but it's the third string, like, okay? If you say no,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter what you do. At some point, it shuts off, but you can adjust it so you can bend the strings, which is cool, you know. And then it has like a Fishman again, and I never tried them before. Very nice. So it's a really nice axe. And then they sent me a 6 string as well, a soloist. This one. Try to reach to it. This one. It's a beautiful one, I think. This one. It's yeah,
Oh,
two
beautiful. Yeah.
humbuckers. Yeah, that's very classic. I mean, I'm not really complicated when it comes to guitars at the moment. Yes, it. I'm using that at the moment. I'm looking forward to get some new ones for the next touring, because I really want. I mean, Evertune, very nice, very great feature. I would like to have a normal one. Thank you. So I'm trying to get a new 7 string with something I understand.
And did you use the Evertune one in the record?
No, yes, everything
Okay.
was recorded with this one. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
And so did you like set it differently for recording like rhythm stuff so it would stay in tune and then set it again for leads and stuff like that? No.
It's thought, I played the leads with the other one and this one, which is one of my favorite guitars. For the leads, I used this one. It's nothing to be a Fender. I made it with a student, and yeah, it sounded beautiful. But when it comes to the Evertune, sorry again. Okay. When it comes to the Evertune, I thought to adjust it so the tune was perfect all the time, but I didn't, because the tuning is not perfect all the time anywhere. So it's like like a fake thing, you know. So I rather prefer to have like things sounding like a guitar, you know, at some part. And David was happy about it, because if you want, you can adjust the this thing, and it stays in tune like crazy. But I did adjust it so every little slight motion I did with my fingers, that it remained there, because
Mm.
it's like we wanted the album to sound as organic as possible. So I tried to, you know, every take I tried to do it like one take, and if it has like little mistakes here and there, I kept them. It's like this is the way I play. So if it's not perfect, it's not perfect.
Yeah, and I was going to ask the guitar you use for playing funk and jazz is the one you showed me right before, because I guess
I
like a Fishman 7 string is not the best for that.
No, definitely not. No. I only and again I'm with Persephone. We tune the guitars on D standard. So I never can use my Persephone guitars for any other thing, because they are tuned different. And when it comes to the other stuff I do, I always play with Fender all the time. It's like my Stratocaster is like my other than when it comes to metal, it's like the soloist in the super strat kind of guitar is like my favorite, like the Jackson soloist and Dinkies or that. When it comes to the other styles, I usually go with the strat. It's like my favorite guitar ever.
All right. I was going to ask, do you play any other instruments apart from guitar?
Drums. I can
Drums,
play
yeah.
I can play drums. Yes.
You
I'm
st-
actually like it's like I love drums so much. It's like my second instrument, but I study it a lot, but I don't practice like technically that much. But it's good because I can work with Bobby.
Mhm.
Then you know I have the knowledge to tell him, try this, try that, use this ghost note, or try this idea. So it's helpful, but my technique is not up there, you know, with knowledge.
And did you start that at the same time as guitar?
No, at all. I mean, always interested on that. Like I always keep an eye on the drums, because I really like the way they perform and the important, you know, part on a band on a song. But I started studying it like I don't know, like 15 years ago. Like I had this friend great drummer. He taught me some stuff, like the rudiments, the everything, and then it was like more self-taught at some point, like, and then he was this crazy drummer with all the displacements and crazy rhythmic tricks and shit like that. So he was explaining that to me so I could understand that and place it in Persephone if needed. But yeah, those are my both things.
Okay. Do you think you would like to learn in the future, maybe? Yeah, are you happy
Another
with
one?
guitar? Yeah.
No, I really love guitars. I mean, I hope I can play guitar many years, many hours until I die. That's my plan. Sometimes it's a little bit sad to think this way, but sometimes I think at some point in my life, I won't be able to play anymore because you don't know. Maybe maybe I die. Maybe I cannot do it because something happened. I hope no, but something or will be old. I won't be able to. So that's sad. But until that happens, I will play a lot. I will really do it all the time as much as I can, and not for for being better at the instrument, just for the joy of playing the instrument. It's like I don't care if it sounds like shit or if I'm doing it not very good. I don't care. I just like to do that. I just like this piece of wood. It's
Yeah.
something beautiful to me.
So amazing because I think many people kind of lose the passion after some years or some decades. I don't know, but
Yeah,
for you,
sometimes
it's like the flame is still burning, like on the first day. Or...
a lot, and especially nowadays, like you can go to YouTube and find many musicians doing like beautiful things with the guitar, young people. And then how can you be inspired about that? It's like you want to do, I mean, at least try, this is beautiful, I want to try. So that for example, at some points I like video games myself, for example, but if I have spare time, sometimes I just prefer to play just for the heck of having a good time. Not even, I mean, when it comes to practicing, Persephone or whatever, or teaching, it's another thing. I like it as well, but sometimes just for fun. It's like I pick up the guitar, I try this song from any artist, or maybe I don't know, an easy song. Like, I don't know, one of my favorite bands is Wizard, for example, or Pixies, one of my all-time, or Primus, like my favorite bands. And then maybe I know how I can play those songs easily, but sometimes I spend the time to learn them, and then I play them along because I like it. I have a good time with that, and it's this. I have a lot of joy of playing the instrument. It's like that. It doesn't matter if it's complicated or not.
That's so inspiring. That's
I
great.
know. Thank you.
I
know.
guess,
It's
yeah,
cool.
it's great to hear that, especially from someone like you who is a teacher, because I think you can really convey that passion to your students as well.
I hopefully do. Yeah, because I would say that guitar, and you play instruments. You play guitar as well. In the good times in my life, guitar was there, and in the bad times, the guitar was there as well. It's something beautiful to me. I could play all the time. If I feel good, I can play. If I feel bad, I can play. And I feel that is beautiful to. I try to share that with other people. Like I don't get. Sometimes we are especially with the kids, with the young ones, we are playing, and I think maybe I teach them how to bend a string. Something easy. They do it, and they look at you like, "This is very cool," and I'm like, "Right?" It's like I don't understand how people is not playing guitar all the time because it's so cool. I feel that way, and yeah, I think it's something beautiful to do because it's like they told me all the time as well. Like, I didn't like this song, but playing it is way different than listening to it. Yeah, it's way different. I remember one commercial very long time ago, and it was Yngwie Malmsteen on the commercial, and he said something like, "If you really like music, not try not to listen to it. Just go and play it. It's way different, and definitely it is. I mean, I only love that part. That's why I love teaching. I like to see people playing this easy song for the first time and enjoying it sad. Like you can see in the faces, like this is very cool. Like even playing along. So that I love that part, and I try to keep that on my daily diet of guitar playing as much as I can.
Crazy. Regarding your teaching, do you teach at the music school or?
I teach the music school for many years, and also I started to teach online as well for other students. And yeah, it's so far beautiful people, like I have to say.
Is it people that know the band and
Yeah,
reach specifically?
mostly.
You? Yeah,
mostly.
mostly.
Like
Oh, crazy.
when it's online, all the people that came in is because they know the band. So the lessons are very like advanced all the time. But I always try to drag them into the jazz part a little bit all the time. And on the school is any level. I mean, I especially like, yeah, with the kids or whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. I enjoy it very, very much. Like anything. They have like high level students here as well. Anything like housewives, they just want to play 3 chords. I'm happy about it because they enjoy it. Whatever. I really love teaching whatever it is. If so with the advanced students, it's like more interesting. You can play some topics and discuss some ideas. But I don't care if we're playing, I don't know, whatever other thing, like a song with a teenager is okay as well. As long as we enjoy, it's a good lesson.
And you mentioned you play a little bit of video games. Do you have other passions besides music?
Not much, I have to say. I love martial arts myself. I practice them, but I'm really bad at them. So it's like a love and hate relationship with it.
Which ones?
And I do Kyokushin karate for a long time, but I broke a leg and I broke this finger, and I try to, because it's full contact, so I try to be careful with that. And I don't train as much. Maybe I'm not training like for months, and then I go there and I do as much as I can. But I love it. I really love that the environment, and I love the all the aspects of it. Even the sparring sessions, I love them. But I'm very bad. They kick my ass all the time. That's what happens. And I also like, of course, video games. No, I don't play as much as I would like to, but I love them, of course. Big part of my life as well. And
Are you
reading.
playing?
I like reading a lot. Sorry?
What are you playing?
I mostly play like indie games most of the time because I don't know, like in Steam, I am playing right now one which is called Vampire Survivors, which is it's an indie game. The only thing you have to do is move the stick and move the character and try to avoid people, and the attack is automatic. So I play this kind of games all the time. Even retro gaming a lot. I play Mega Man. I try to do some speed runs with Mega Man myself to beat the game. Like those kind of things. And now I have Xbox Series S and the Game Pass thing, and that's the craziest thing ever. I have many games. I cannot play as much as I wanted, but I'm trying to try many games. Like I beat Doom Eternal the other day. I was very happy about it, very proud.
Killer soundtrack. I'm there.
Oh man, beautiful one. Mick Gordon, that guy. He did the last Monuments, the latest Monuments. He produced that. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
I know he was like featured on one track, but I didn't know he produced it. Yeah.
Yes, the whole thing, Killer band again. By the way.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, in video game soundtrack is like an UFO. What he did with Doom 2016, still one of the heaviest thing I've ever heard in my life, I think. And it's just a video game soundtrack. So it's amazing.
That song, that's the song,
Yeah.
it's called BFG Division. That one.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I listened to it, I was on tour. Actually, I had my Nintendo Switch, and we were in off day, and I had Doom Eternal. My sister bought that to me, and I remember I was playing with the headphones, and I started to listen to the music on the game, and I felt like pumped up, like I really want to kill something with this. And then I tried to find the song, on Spotify and everything, and I listened to it properly. It was a beautiful song. Again, the rhythmic idea is very simple, but it sounds killer. I mean, the idea is perfect. Love it. I think the Doom Eternal is not as impressive as the 2016 soundtrack, even when it's beautiful as well.
Yeah,
but that one was like,
yeah.
I think there's a lot of talented composers in like music, video game music as well. So that's definitely, I think, a new way to express themselves for composers nowadays.
for many years, I think. I mean, when you think on the early games, and they were very inspired by Fusion. I don't know if you knew this, but the first games that happened, like in Japan, the Nintendo NES and all that stuff. I watched a documentary about how the Sonic music or the Mario music was like stolen for Japanese jazz fusion artists, and you could hear the same music. And then back then, it looks like back then there wasn't the role of the video game composer. There wasn't a thing back then. So the video game developers, they just to find a musician, a random musician, and then some of them, they were jazz players or fusion players or whatever, and then they did the music and then they put in the video. So most of us, we've been listening to weird and crazy shit musically on video games back then. For example, Mario Kart. Have you seen this video from Alex Rudinger drumming on some Mario Kart, some stuff? And it was in 17th, I think. 13 and 7, sorry, 16 behind, like the rhythmic pattern. It was crazy. It was like I don't know, menu music. And it was like crazy to think that was there for people to listen.
Yeah, I think
especially with the limitations of that back then, like with 4 channels or something like that, they managed to do like incredibly creative stuff, and had to be creative for it to sound good, I think.
Yes, and catchy. I mean, I listened to some of that stuff. It's like a nostalgia thing.
Yeah, definitely. When I first started to play the saxophone like 2 years ago, one of the first thing I did was like learn every Mario Kart theme because it was just fun,
Of course, what a beautiful soundtrack. I mean, that's great. That's a good idea. I find amazing the way you guys mix the saxophone with the music. I mean, it's crazy, good. I mean, never heard that in my life. I remember a band called FL Duat. I don't know if you know this band. Back then, they did something similar like years ago. It was weird, but when I listened to you guys, it was like so perfectly fit. I mean, beautiful.
Thank you so much. There will be more in the future, so
hopefully,
like it.
we're happy to listen.
And what about the future for you guys? What's your plans?
I think the same as you guys, touring as much as we can. Now that the pandemic seems to be over, I think, cross fingers. It's been difficult. I don't know. Try to tour the album and try not to wait 5 years to release a new one. That will be smart because we are not getting younger at all. So we have this Obscura tour in September, and then hopefully after that we will go to the US with another bands. But I cannot say them because it's not announced. But it's a killer package. And then we'll go back to Europe and do another one, hopefully. And we have plans, if we can, to go to South America as well, because we played there. Have you played in South America before?
No.
We played in Mexico, and that's another thing. I mean, it's another game. People is crazy there. Like, it's very crazy. So we really want to go back there if we can. So those are the plans, and let's see if we can manage to keep them in check.
The next step is the Obscura tour. How did that come to happen?
That happened was a long time ago. I mean, it's actually interesting and fun. I had this hobby. I'm a huge fan of Obscura myself because they are amazingly talented people, and Christian, the guitar player, is crazy. I mean, back then when I listened to them the first time, I was like, my God, this is so cool. So when Christian left the band, they were auditioning for guitar players. So every time I see a audition for any band, I apply all the time. Like I feel, but I don't want to join. I just want to get in touch with people I look up to, just like that. I just want to try, because I don't really want to join any band. So they were like, "We're looking for a guitar player." I was like, "Sure, I will try." So I sent an email to Stefan, like, "I want to try. What I have to do?" And then he wrote me back. It was like years ago. And he was like, "Oh, you're the guy from the Persephone band." And I was so happy he knew about my band. Like, oh my God. And he was like, "No, we're looking for a guy from Germany, but I want you to stay in your band so we can tour together in the future." I was so happy about it. I would love to tour with you guys. So we tried to do that for a long time. We meet each other for the first time in the UK Tech Fest. We play there. They were playing there as well, and then they keep offering some tours, but we, of course, we could not. I mean, difficult. We not live out of the band, so it's difficult to to get the people on board and do these long tours. So at the end of the day, we asked him to sing in the album as well. So we have this kind of good relationship with them, and then everything aligned, and then they offer us this new tour, and then we said yes. And I feel a little bit intimidated. But you tour with them, isn't it? You have a tour with them,
Yeah,
actually.
right before the pandemic, actually.
Oh my god, I've seen some shows and pictures. I feel a little bit intimidated about playing with them because they're so crazy good. So yeah, I'm happy, but at the same time, it's like I better practice.
Oh, I wouldn't worry. No, but I find it amazing that every time they announce a tour, it has like a super perfect package with only killer bands on board. So I think
Mm.
that's really something they're nailing, picking the openers and main supports and stuff like that.
Yes, and having a good package is very important to tour, especially now that we were mentioning before the live. All the bands we are about to go on tour together at the same time. So people is trying to get beautiful packages everywhere. So people will want. I mean, if we try to headline our own show right now, when I don't know, like many packages, crazy packages, they are going at the same time, that would be a crazy mistake. So it's good to have a good line up to go on tour at this moment, because that will be like the war, like in few months.
Yeah, I think so many tours will happen September, October. So let's see how that goes. But
Let's see. Hopefully, we'll have people for everyone.
yeah, I think people will definitely needing shows.
Yeah, I
So
think.
quite optimistic. Let's see.
Nice.
Do you have
So,
any festivals in the summer?
again, same thing. As you may know, like since the pandemic, like festival had these lineups closed, so they are like keeping them, for this year.
Mm.
So it's very difficult to get any festival at this point. But we have we have one in September before the tour. But I cannot say. I don't know if I can announce it because they didn't announce it. So, but yeah, we have one there, and I think that's it. Only one. Hopefully, the next summer that will be the moment to be able to make festival event. What do you prefer? That's a question for you guys. Come on, this is like my monologue.
Come on.
What do you prefer? A show on tour or a festival?
Tricky question.
Yes.
Hmm. I don't know. Some of my best memories with the bands are from festivals because I love playing like outdoors and stuff like that. You can like being on tour with Obscura right before the pandemic, every night having a show. That's also something so amazing. I really couldn't pick one. I think it's just a
No,
different experience.
I will go farther. I will go farther with this. If you have to choose not touring, but having one show in a venue or one show in a festival, which one do you will choose? Only one.
And I'd go for the festival. I think.
All right.
Yeah, me too.
That's
All
interesting.
ambience, like watching the other bands and stuff like that, having real time to hang out there. Because when you are playing a show, you must prepare, then you must pack your stuff, so you're not seeing a lot of the other bands and stuff like that. What
That's,
about you, Hugo?
I
Yeah,
think
I'd pick
I think I
festival
would
as well. Yeah,
me
because
too.
all of the party thing, like we all here to celebrate something, celebrate music and bands, and yeah, I think it's just a bit stronger at a festival than in a venue. But yeah, hard
You,
question.
That's a hard one. I mean, I agree with you that going on festival that involves to the best part, which is seeing other musicians there. That's cool. I mean, especially when you can play with some bands you really look up to. That's nice. I'm always fangirling people. Like, okay, can I take a picture with you? But I prefer to go in the venue. Everything is more controlled there. I like the most of my like breakdowns on stage where, like, for example, in metal days, like those things happens. I don't know why those things happens to us all the time. Like accidents, problems, technical difficulties all the time. So at some point, every time we have a festival, I feel like, let's see what happens now. But so I prefer to go to a venue where everything is in its place, professional. You can do your thing. Yeah, maybe I'm playing it safe.
Yeah,
But I understand
yeah, maybe
No, but
maybe a better sound as well.
as well. Yes.
In festival,
But you know what?
sometimes the stage is so big and it's opener. It's sometimes hard to make it sound tight, I think.
Yes.
You know
And
what?
also-
Metal Days was actually one of our worst experiences in terms of like on stage sound, because when we started out, you mentioned you only heard like your guitar and the click track. When our show started, I only heard the bass and the click track because they reversed every monitor and stuff. So that was absolutely horrible. But
I'm happy that
despite that, it was one of my best experiences on stage because of the atmosphere and everything. So
that's cool. But I'm
I
very
managed to
happy
look
that
past.
happened to you. Sorry, but I was to say that I'm very happy that that happened to you and not only happened to us. That thing like they cross paths and things are going crazy on stage. My man. But I think on venue as well. You know these shows with the venue is not very big, but it's packed. And people is really close to this to the scenario. I love that. When people goes crazy, you can feel it's sweaty and it's hot. Those shows I really love those even more than because festival everyone is like there like away and it's very difficult to create that kind of atmosphere. So that's why I think it's a good question. People go from one and the other part of the time with that one.
I definitely understand what you mean. I think I also prefer watching a show at the venue rather than at the festival. If there's a band I really love, I'd rather see them in the club than at the festival.
I agree. So do you get nervous about before the shows? I'm interviewing you now, guys. It changes. Do you
Actually,
feel anxious?
usually when I'm the most nervous is like when we are playing the release party, first time ever playing the songs and stuff like that in front of people we know. This is actually when I'm the most nervous because because it's a premiere for everything, and you are wondering how are people going to react, especially if these are people you know. But these are usually the hardest shows for me in terms of nerves, and then I think it's okay. Let's see how it goes when we play Hellfest this summer.
Oh man,
this
that's
is
true.
gonna be maybe nerve-wracking as well. What about you, Hugo?
Usually I get nervous, but like way before the show, like we are in our way to the venue, and I'm like, oh, what's this gonna look like? What? Who are the people here? Will all the gear will work fine? But as soon as we do all the sound check or line check, and as soon as we know that everything works, then I'm really more relaxed. It's like I get nervous, but it's not playing that makes me nervous. It's everything else,
Yes.
especially the gear.
What about you?
Technical.
I'm absolutely with Hugo with
Yeah.
this one. This is the same. I like those moments when you're going to the venue and you're like overthinking everything. I hope everything works. In the moment I have the guitar with me and I know it sounds and I know everything is working and my monitor is working, then of course I feel a little bit anxious. I practice the solo a little bit. You go there, then you start and everything is fine. But before that, I had a hard time as well. So I feel you, bro.
Yeah, thank you. But
Actually, we played where
the moment like when we are starting to go on stage, it's more like excitation more than like anxiety or we are excited, not nervous.
Yeah, different feeling.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we played with the band, and the guitar player he told me he was throwing up before every single show because he was like so nervous that he was like puking every time, and he was playing like for years and years and years. That this didn't go away. But despite that, he still loved playing shows. So that's kind of weird.
I mean, playing live is not for everyone. I think there's people that they don't enjoy that at all. I mean, many musicians. But myself, I mean, I have a love and hate relationship with playing live as well. I mean, I like it, but at the same because I like it because it's you travel with your friends, you love them, and you have this experience that you meet new people, you meet musicians. That's beautiful. But at the same time, is yeah, it get me anxious most of the time, like trying to perform well, especially with the band like yours. I mean, and Persephone, this kind of music is demanding at times, and you're expected to play perfectly somehow, You're selling that to the people like I play it this way, so they want to see that. And I hope I do it well tonight. But yeah, but sometimes it happens that you don't do it, and we're humans after all. I remember we played in a festival in Norway. Again, same thing like Metal Days. Had this huge guitar solo with like 3 or 4 key changes and whatever. I played right all the time, but again, they had this feeling like tonight, I don't know. And again, I remember we were playing, the show was perfect, the solo came in, I started the guitar solo, everything nice, people was so crazy about it. And in the moment I started thinking about it, I got lost. And I was like, oh shit. So I get lost, and I didn't want to play anything to mess with the other guys. So I looked to the crowd, and then the people were like, "What happened?" And I tried to find the place to reach to the right note. Everything was so fast, and at some point I was like, "Okay, this run here," and then I start again. People were like, very emotional, like, "Yeah, he did it." At the end of the show, one kid comes to me like, "Ah, it was beautiful. Thank you very much for playing." "Oh, thank you." "What happened on the guitar solo?" I got lost. I made this mistake. But you don't never fail. You never fail because you are a professional. No, Ben. Yes, I fail. I've never played a full show without any mistake in my life. I mean, of course, it happens all the time. But this music, is something in there that we need to play it like very tight all the time, and yeah, gets
Yeah,
so much.
especially with music that is so demanding and written out, like every single note is written out. If you ever get out of the flow or make a mistake, that's super easy to get lost. I totally get that
Yes.
sometimes as well. Then it's just absolutely impossible for your brain to reconnect to what's happening, and there's no way of getting back in.
And sometimes, I don't know if this happened to you guys, but sometimes you have this, I don't know, complicated section and you nail it all the time. No worries. You feel like, no worries. But then one night you fuck it up, like something happened. And then from that moment, that section is like, you're afraid of that all the time. It never happened, but it happens once. And then it's like, oh no, I lost all my confidence on this part. And then you keep
Absolutely.
failing. It's like, come on, come on. Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Do you repractice it slowly? Do you have a secret
Yeah.
method for that?
No, I I think I fail the most when I think on stage. When I think on what's going on is when I lose it a little bit. But now what I do is I practice it. If and then yeah, I just practice. You can do anything else. Try not to think too much because if you think, happens. And then I do this all the time. I accept the fact that I'm human. It's okay to make mistakes. I mean, I cannot be perfect. I'm not perfect. And then it makes me feel better. If I fail, I fail. I'm not trying to be the best guitar player in the world at all. I just try my best. I told you I love to play this thing, and I like to play it for people to listen and to enjoy. And if I fail, I failed. That's what it is. I feel bad about it, but I try to accept it because it happens. We're humans.
It's also great that we are doing a job that people are not dying if we make a mistake. If you are a surgeon and you fail, then it's a problem. But at the end of the day, you're just making music. So if you fail,
Yeah, that's it.
just note it.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's just one mistake is just whatever. If you mention a doctor, that's a little bit worse.
Yeah, I'm definitely very serious about music and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you just have to realize it's just music, and mistakes can
And
happen.
I have to tell you that maybe you can relate on this, but when I explain, I don't know, stories to students and people and friends and family, if the story is I went to Japan and I played every note like a fucking boss. That's not a good story. The story they want to hear is like I went to Japan and I get nervous and then my pick fell on stage and then when I went up I did something, everything went wrong and then they laugh at you. Those stories are the good ones at the end of the day and the one you remember and that is it's okay that they happen. I mean in the moment it's really bad but then yeah people like to listen to that.
Yeah, definitely. I think every single show where something went wrong, either I made a big mistake or I don't know, something technical failed. I think these shows are really brand marked into my brain. I remember one where our program lights were completely going totally random, crazy, strobing in all different colors, and I couldn't stop laughing on stage because this was so crazy.
I remember
Yeah, these moments actually are the good stories, as you said,
this is
memories.
life, you know. We went to Mexico to play when we went to the US, and before we went to Barcelona to get the plane. The bass player Tony had a panic attack, so we had to stop, go back to the hospital with him, and then he couldn't make it to the tour. So we went to had to leave him there and go and tour without him. So can you imagine on the airport you had the files with the bass, try to put them on the tracks to have it. And we did it like on the go because we had the flights and then we went to Mexico, go down and then play the show, like no time to practice anything. So we tried to put everything in. We did a sold out actually, so there was a lot of people, first show, nervous about it, whatever. So the show starts, we start to play, people crazy, and then I'm like the first song and I'm like focusing on the bass, like let's see what happens. And if the bass was like moved the whole show, like I think it was like an eighth note or something like that. So the whole show, the bass was off tempo all the time. It was like, no, man. But what can you do? You just laugh. It's like, okay, at least
Yeah.
we're playing.
Did you have your sound guy with you? Could he like lower the bass at least or something?
To blame him, see, yeah, we have it. You had him. Yeah, yeah. Of course, he tried. We used to laugh a lot on stage because we're having jokes all the time and we're happy about it. So yeah. So it's that helps, because if we are really serious about your thing and then you fail, it's worse. But you're just laughing about it. Like, people, what happened? We're just playing. Could happen to you.
And what do you when you fail, what do you tell to people when they say to you, "Yeah, this was a great show" and stuff like that?
I tell them that I failed. That
Really?
you know that. Yeah, sure. I'm very open on that because you know what it's like with this era of Instagram and people playing perfectly all the time. Everyone plays perfect all the things they play all the time everywhere, and that's not true. People fail, all of them. I've seen failing everyone. I think it's a toxic thing. So when I fail, I say it out loud because it's better for everyone. People, especially the kids. I mean, they need to know that they look up to you somehow because you are old and you play guitar in front of them. They would look up to you and but I like your playing, but you failed today in front of me. Yes, I do that. So what? I feel good about it. They feel good about it. Huh? So you fail as well. Yes, I do. A lot. Probably tomorrow I will fail again. So I think it's a good thing to do. I think it's a healthy thing to be open about the mistakes and insecurities. Let's like with music. Every interview we had with Metanoia, they asked you about the record. How do you feel about the music? I don't know. I feel bad about it. I hate that music. I mean, I feel insecure about it. I don't know. Uh, we're musicians. We always like others people music, not our music, because we are insecure about what we do. Then people is like, I love it. I like it. That's nice. But I like to be open about it because it's the way I feel that everyone feels. And then the kids, that are looking for this kind of career, I think it's healthy for them to know that the people that are actually doing it, they have the same insecurities, the same. That's why I always open about that.
That's very interesting, especially in, as you said, in the times we live in where everything has to be super perfect. Every production is perfect. Every video is perfect and everything. It's a very sane state of mind, I think.
I think it's a toxic thing for everything. It's like not only on music. It's like when you see other people's in the internet, when their lives are perfect as well, and their relationships are perfect, and their diet is perfect all the time. Everything is perfect, and it's not true. Like life is a mess most of the time. At times it makes sense, but it's only at times. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing to do that show people that sometimes like life is real. This is what it is. You struggle the same that you struggle. But you did this or you have this album. Yeah, I did. I don't know how I did it anyway. I just did it. So I think it's a good thing to do. Of course, we are like small bands, but maybe you can have a little impact on people. Like on tour, sometimes we talk with everyone after the shows, and with some of them, they told us like, very nice to see and know that you feel about this, like that, about the music and about the guitar and everything, and you can have your little impact on people, I think.
Yeah, it's right. Exactly what you said in the beginning, like what you felt when listening to Rest in Peace back then. If you can give that back to people, even if it's just like a handful of people, whatever, this is amazing. I think if you can
Cool.
give that the same feeling to them that you got back then,
But
that's
then
the
I
greatest thing ever.
wonder how those musicians feel about their music.
Yeah,
I
probably the same as we do.
Probably the same. Probably Marty Freeman is sick of that solo at this point.
The sort of tornado of swords. Yeah, yeah,
Probably.
probably. Okay, guys. If you have some more questions in the chat, if you have any topics we didn't cover, I think now is your time. Is there anything you want to talk about right now, Carlos?
I think we
Anything we
already
didn't cover?
covered everything. We didn't cover the Will Smith thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah. That's
The
absolutely
topic,
super important right now.
it's super
Most
important.
important topic in the world.
Yes, everything has to stop because of that. But other than that, I think we covered all the stuff. Now
We,
you
we
know.
did
Yeah, sorry.
we didn't cover all of your guests that you had on the record.
Yes.
We had Einar and Steffen, but they're not the only ones, right?
No, we had also Angel Vivaldi on guitars. And then we had Merete Solbeth on vocals as well. She's the singer of it's not a band, it's a project called Two Steps from Hell. They do this trailer music, and she also sang on the Athma album as well. I mean, the guests are top notch. I mean, we're so grateful they wanted to play and make some noises for us on the album.
Definitely. The Did you have a lot of guests in the past as well, as much as this time?
Lately, we are doing that because we are enjoying the guest things a lot. Like in AFMA, we started in AFMA with Paul Masvidal, which was like one of the highlights of my life to have him, in the album with us. And then we had Paul Masvidal, Oysten from Lepros. He's not in Lepros anymore, but he's like my friend, and he played a guitar solo, and Merete as well. Then on the In Lak'ech song we did, EP, we had Tim Charles from Neo Obliviscaris as well, playing the violin and singing. So it was like, we're happy doing this with people, like with people that we like. And then on the new one, we were like, okay, wish list. Which artists we want to have on the album? And we did a wish list. We approached most of them. Most of them we knew they were about to collaborate because, for example, with Stephen, we had this relationship with Einar. We knew him before. Angel Vivaldi, we met him in New York as well in person, and he's like the nicest guy ever. So I asked him, like, could you do that? He was, sure, I will do. And again, in Merete, I mean, it was like a very personal thing with all of them. But yeah, in the future, we are aiming for more crazy collaborations. Of course, we will keep doing this as much as we can.
Is it like you have already the places and people in mind, like in the song? Did you know I want Einar to sing exactly on this intro?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because Einar, that was a no-brainer because when Paul Masvidal, he sang the intro in one song, and then going on stage every night with Paul vocals before us, that was beautiful every night. It was like pumped up, like, man, nice. And then we were like, let's try to reproduce that on the next tour with Einar's vocals because we are really a fan of his voice. So that's has to be on the intro. And with the rest of the guys, we just wanted them, and and we tried to find the right places during the writing sessions.
Right. I think they did a great job, and it's like super refreshing to have him. Even it's bold to having like opened the record, you know,
Yeah,
having
for
a
people,
guest.
yeah, it's like crazy. People was like, "What? Is this a Leprous album?" Nope. That was a cool thing to do. We'll hopefully, I think we will keep that tradition in the future if we can find the right guests. You know, for example,
Yeah.
I really like. I would love to have Devin Townsend
Oh,
sing. Yeah, we're aiming like very high, but we just try. It's like, okay, would you do that? People sometimes they just say yes, and it's crazy. Like Paul, he was, yeah, sure. What? So in the future, we will try hard to get some crazy. We're thinking even in asking people outside of the metal community. That's something we want to do.
that would be interesting.
Yeah, let's see if we can,
We
get some.
already have new music that's been
No,
written
no,
at the moment. No,
not,
not at
not even one note.
Okay. Let's hope that you can defend your latest record on that Obscura tour and on all these other opportunities you mentioned. Let's
Hopefully,
hope for the best.
let's try to rehearse and practice a lot. Let's see what happens.
I didn't think
All right, guys.
I didn't think I already said it, but the record is really amazing. I really loved it. I listened to the first time like some days ago to prepare this live, and yeah, really great. Especially love the consciousness part 3,
Oh,
the instrumental right before the end, and this is a following of previous songs, like right, like consciousness part 1 and 2 in previous albums, maybe.
yes, definitely. We had that one on the spiritual migration.
Okay.
I told you that it wasn't a good memory, that album, but people liked that a lot. So it was like a therapy. Like we did that song for people to listen because hopefully they were happy about it. But at the same time, it was because now we are in a good place as a band. Like we feel good as a band. So it was like playing some of the oldest riffs on the new record, and then feel good about them. So it was a little bit of therapy as well, with some Easter eggs. So yeah, and people receive it pretty well. The song is an interesting song. It's very long with all the notes in there.
Yeah.
So I hope we never play that live. That's my thoughts on that.
Okay.
I love the little quotes you added from the previous record, Spiritual Migration, as you said.
Sorry, again,
I love the little musical quotes you added from the previous
yes,
ones.
that little things. People was like, did you do that? Yeah, yeah. I heard that Flying Sea Dragon thing. Yes, yes, yes. That's for the fans, a little bit, or the bands we like as well. Like Dream Theater, sometimes they throw some melody here and there. Symphony, some melody here and there. Well, let's do the same. Let's pretend we are important and do something like this.
Now you have to do a Star Wars quote at some point.
Oh no.
That would be the end of it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Disney will like fuck that ass a lot.
All right, guys, I think that's it for today. Carlos, once again, thank you so much for joining. It was a huge pleasure talking to you. It was super interesting and like super inspiring. The love you still have for music. I feel good having talked to you, actually.
Yeah, I do agree. I do not speak a lot, but I love to just listen, and it's really inspiring to hear you guys talking.
I mean, to be here with such amazing musicians as you are. I mean, I feel happy about the opportunity to meet you guys. Let's say in person. Hope we meet in person in the future, and we hope we can play together at some point. But yeah, I really feel that your band is really amazing. You're talented musicians, and this thing you're doing is very cool. I felt really comfortable here talking with you, and yeah, I feel grateful to be here and share these moments with you guys.
Same for me.
Well,
Same
thank
for us,
you.
I think.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Right, guys, thank you so much for watching this. This will be available on YouTube also. If you missed parts of it, it will be all there. And yeah, have a good night, everybody.
Goodbye.